W0SUN, did you get the green light? W0KPH.
Oh, as a matter of fact, I did. Thank you, KAT W0SUN.
Cool deal, cool deal. Well, good evening all. 7 p.m. in the Colorado Rocky Mountains, and this is W0KPH. My name is Kathleen, and I am in Pueblo, West Colorado. Welcome to the SkyHubLink system-wide Monday Night Net. We have this night every Monday night to discuss amateur radio and other interesting topics. SkyHubLink is not a closed system in any way. We welcome all users in the true spirit of amateur radio. Please remember during all use of this multi-mode system to allow 3 to 5 seconds between your transmissions and 1.5 seconds to cut, and then begin speaking. Also, keep that PTT pushed a half second or so until your last word. When more than 2 people are using the repeaters, please set up a rotation so that you won't be doubling over the other parties in the round table. Remember, you are on many repeaters and modes simultaneously. Good amateur operating practice is remembering that others may also need to use one of the many repeaters on this system during your, or they may wish to join in on your topic. It is extremely important that if you are operating a hotspot on SkyHubLink, when in YSF mode, that you do not enable the Wires X pass-through. Do not operate your radio in Wires X mode to change the reflectors when connected to. Do use the web interface of your PiStar or hotspot to change reflectors. If you operate your YSF pass-through and control the PiStar with your radio while on the SkyHubLink reflector 92722, it can cause disconnects and link issues. Please do not use this feature when you're connected to the SkyHubLink. We ask that you do not chunk a repeater to see if you're keying it up. Please do come on and ask. Protecting the system can cause link issues and is really illegal as an unidentified transmission. Once again, to see if you're making the repeater actually come on and ask for that radio check. And if and when you're monitoring the system, if you hear someone ask for that radio check, be sure and respond. I'm going to break. SkyHubLink is here for the safety and assistance for any communication needs, including emergencies. If you hear someone call for assistance or emergency, on the SkyHubLink repeater, you can dial your local 911 number, report that you're an amateur radio operator and just received an emergency call. Give them the details, and then they will contact the appropriate area. Also, if someone just needs to reach out for any kind of help, they receive the assistance needed. And with that, is there any emergency traffic at this time? I'll pause for response. It's always a relief to get crickets on that. Okay, this is a controlled net. All must check in to be recognized by NCS. We will take a few check-ins and then do a round table of that list, although tonight it might be a bit different. And then we'll take another check-in list. Repeater owners and system ops will be checked in first, and then we'll take check-ins following that. If you're listening on the internet stream, please text Jack with your name and location and call at 303-704-3290. Now, please listen carefully to these check-in instructions. When checking in, please say only your call sign phonetically twice. To facilitate the system keying up, please allow 1.5 seconds. And hold the PTT a half or so at the last syllable so that we can get the whole message and you don't get cut off. If net control misses you, then please stand by for the next round of check-in. By the way, if you are on an analog repeater 449-450, remember that it disconnects at 8:25 for the Rocky Mountain Radio League Club net. You can now listen on the metro area on 447-100 after the 449 disconnect. The PL tone for that 447-100 is 14.8. That's 114.8. And that will help with the analog coverage. Tonight's discussion is about the petition that is before the Federal Communications Commission. It's a petition for a rulemaking change on the shortwave, called the Modernization Coalition. The effects that this may have on amateur radio as we know it. And we have some people that may add some comments to this. I have added some links at the top of the AIM window to some very good, informative videos out there from a couple of first hands. And those videos will help you understand what is going on, and you can look at them later. But this is an important comments have to be submitted by July 31st, even though this petition was brought forth in April 28th. I'll pause for reset, and I'll be right back. All right. It is W0KPH with the SkyHubLink Monday night system-wide net. I may have scrambled up the title a little bit there. And I'm going to call for system op and repeater owners at this time for check-in. And before I get into that, I have net logging for me. All right, I have no confirmation there, so I will multitask here, folks. Taking check-ins from system operators, repeater operators at this time. Repeater owners, please come now with your call sign.
Alpha Echo 7, Romeo Juliet. That's Alpha Echo 7, Romeo Juliet. Use that. Kilowatt Zero, United Zulu.
Okay, I have Alpha Echo 7, RJ, welcome, and Ken, KD0Z. Any other repeater owners that would like to check in at this time? Okay, with that, call sign areas 0, 1, 2, and 3. Please come now with your call signs from areas 0, 1, 2, and 3. Call sign 4, 5, and 6. Come now with your call sign. Call sign areas 4, 5, and 6. If you have a 4, 5, or 6 in your call sign, please come now with your check-in.
Kilo 3, Alpha Delta, no traffic.
Come back again with your call sign twice, please.
Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta. Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta.
All right, Kilo 3, Sierra Alpha Delta. Thank you, Georgia. Okay, for the rest of the call signs, I'm opening it up to anyone, anywhere, which will include the 7, 8, and 9 call sign areas. Anywhere, anyone, call sign, please come now twice phonetically.
Kilowatt Whiskey 0 Papa. Kilowatt Whiskey 0 Papa. Name here is Kurt, Kilo Uniform Romeo Tango, Scottsbluff, Nebraska.
Kurt, I've added you in. All right. It will shut down chicken later on. If you have any comments or something, come forward with your call sign a couple of times, and we'll get you your comments. So remember to check in through net control. Net control to acknowledge you. Okay, so what we have is a petition for the Shortwave Modernization Coalition. What this petition is about, in a Cliff Note version, it's a petition to allow data communication on multiple bands within the 2 to 25 hertz. Kilowatt, about 10 kilohertz of bandwidth, so they say, immediately adjacent from allocation to our amateur radio service. It appears to represent high-speed stock trading interest, specifically in a hedge fund type thing dealing with Bitcoin. This was presented to the FCC April 28th of this year, and comments I do what seems to be a delay is more of a tactical maneuver. But with that said, I have researched a lot of the information on this, and it's a proposal to rewrite our FCC rules to allow some commercial broadcast at the edge of our bands. It'll be data transmission. For now, our method of fighting this is through the ARRL is our best method. There is a method which, if you watch some of the videos I posted in the links in the AIM window, there's the method for direct petition or direct comment to the FCC. So please, if you're on NetLogger, scroll up in the AIM window and check out those links. Those are some very interesting videos pertaining to this matter. I'm going to pause for reset. Some of the notes that I've made, and then I'm going to defer to another gentleman here that is here this evening. And but some of the notes, it is a petition to have the FCC modify its rules in Part 90. In my opinion, it is a way for these trading companies to subvert the borders and censorship that could occur on our current communication technologies, i.e., they can do their trading over the internet and their other methods, but they have presented a very researched argument as to how our radio waves can help them, and they literally are dealing in milliseconds of need to get their transactions carried out, and a millisecond missed could cost them thousands of dollars. So it is a commercial thing. It's an ad hoc group, and they've named themselves the Shortwave Modernization Coalition, and we can refer to them as the SMC, Sierra Mike Charlie. There's entities in it. There's Top 7, DRW Holdings, LLC. And interestingly enough, the
I think you timed it out there, my friend. KW, is it okay?
Okay, this is my first time out. I have posted videos from K0LWC. I've posted 3 videos from W6LG, which is Jim Heath, in the AIM window, and I believe tonight IWI Herald for comments, And Harold, I'm going to pass the mic to you. This is W0KPH. Harold, welcome.
All right, very good. I'm getting some dropout here. I'm using the All-Star telephone portal from here in Tucson. So this is W6IWI, Harold. And as you mentioned, this is RM 11953, which is a revision of the Part 90 rules for business and industrial users. Currently, they are allowed to use these frequencies for mobile operation or things like that, but not point-to-point, which is what they're looking at. They're looking at increased bandwidth and so on. People that want to file comments, you can Google ECFS, which is the FCC's electronic comment filing system, and then search for the rulemaking 11953. 150 comments being filed. A lot of them are non-substantive. They just say, don't do it. And the FCC largely ignores comments like that. They want a reason that they should not do it. So if you're going to file comments, I hope that they are reasoned. The proposal is to modify rules regarding existing Part 90 business industrial HF allocations to allow use for fixed point-to-point communications. And as mentioned before, they are trying to decrease the latency in financial trades compared to fiber. I have not heard anything about Bitcoin. I think it could apply to any sort of financial transaction. There's an interesting movie called The Bumblebee Effect. People want to see about latency. There, somebody was putting in a direct fiber line to try to decrease latency. I guess I should let the repeater drop here, so I'll be quiet for a second. Okay, and then back. Looking at the rulemaking, they are proposing a maximum of 20 kilowatts transmitted power output. We can compare that to an international broadcast station, which has a minimum 50 kilowatts output. And their bandwidth is 50 kilohertz max. They were running 10 kilohertz under the experimental licenses, but they are proposing 50 kilowatts max. I looked at some of the experimental licenses. They were running like a 2 kilowatt transmitted power output and a 20 kilowatt ERP. Modulation on those were frequency shift keying and quadrature amplitude modulation. As was pointed out, a lot of these bands, a lot of these allocations bump up right against amateur frequencies. For example, there's an allocation from 4.0 to 4.063. That's right above the 80 meter band. There's an allocation from 10.150 to 11.175. That's right above the 30 meter band. A lot of these are right next to the amateur bands. So they are requiring an emissions mask with 50 dB attenuation. That still may spill over excess interference into the amateur bands. So what might be proposed is either a tighter spectral mask to decrease that, or perhaps a guard band, so you have to stay so many kilohertz away from the amateur bands, and then also to require a human readable ID, such that if there is interference, you have a way to report it. In the rulemaking, they said they have not received any verified interference complaints. But if you can't tell who's doing the transmitting, it's hard to make a complaint. Back to you, Kat. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Harold, for that. And I'll open it up to anyone who wants to ask questions or has comments at this point. So anyone with a comment or question, come now with your call sign.
KE0YAK.
W6IWI, go ahead.
Yeah, one thing is the FCC's electronic comment filing system requires 1 or 2 clicks for you to see each comment. So you have to do 1,000 clicks to review them all. So I'm looking at making a script that will combine them all into one document. So that'll make it easier to deal with. I'll let you know if and when I get that done. Thank you. It's W6IWR. Back to net.
All right, and one of the videos up at the top that ends in Y0XGHIX that Jim Heath did, it's an actual video of the PDF filed to the FCC, and his videos 2 and 3 show some interesting links and methods to getting direct into the FCC comments containing RM 11953. Again, the links are posted above in the AIM chat room. James, KAK, I see that you have a comment.
Mine is really a question. I'm not sure what the significance of the FCC ruling will be for digital radio or analog radio. And I would like a good explanation for that. And I will join whatever we need to do to keep ham radio moving and alive.
W6IWR.
I understand I'm having audio issue here. Give me a second. I'll change to a digital thing here, and I'll be right back with a comment to that, James. Okay, this W0KPH, W0SUN. How's my audio now?
I think everybody will agree with me and sigh a breath of relief that you're just sounding fantastic right now. Thank you for switching. W0SUN.
Excellent switch out here in western Nebraska. So much easier copy. Kilowatt Whiskey, 0 Papa.
Give them an inch, they're going to take a mile. The radio, as I understand it, and our amateur bands, are for the public good, the public service, versus commercialized service. So we let this financial group or consortium, or what they call themselves, a coalition, and they use some pretty nice words that make it sound harmless to us, now, my opinion. And you come in and be allowed commercially. They will have the coffers to fight and to get more, and this group starts making their money acquisitions and doing it well. There's going to be groups to follow, and more groups, and it's going to be an erosion, and eventually they're going to be looking at the band's spectrum set aside for amateur radio, and they'll be plucking away at that. Now, that's just my opinion. And I do believe that if we open up the door, we're going to open up the floodgates. Any comments on that? This W0KPH.
KW0P for a quick one.
Ask a question about it.
KW0P.
Roger, this is KW0P, Scottsbluff, Nebraska, Western Nebraska, USA. The thing about this is I am a member of the Region 22 Aries group out here, and the thing is, we have what's called WinLink. That's just one of the many things that we use out here, but WinLink is becoming the most popular. And we work closely with FEMA. As a matter of fact, you have to pass a couple of 2 or 3 FEMA courses in order to become a student for Aries. So WinLink actually is comprised of not only private amateur radio operators, but also government institutions. So WinLink operates on all bands, 10 meters, 15 meters, 20 meters, 40 meters, and 30 meters, so on and so forth. And, the concern is they're not really attacking the amateur radio band, but considering the propagation characteristics of HF, they're talking about operating 20 kilowatts and above, if I'm correct. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's going to create some massive interference globally. So I'm kind of wondering, has the IATU said anything about this? Go ahead.
To my knowledge, they have been doing this internationally, and they've been testing the market in the U.S. with this testing their proposed system. They've been running tests out of Chicago and New York, but I do understand that they have been operating under an experimental license internationally. So I can't give you a definitive answer on that. Harold, do you have anything? W6IWI, this W0KPH.
It's W6IWI, and they specifically say in their petition that they will not operate in amateur aeronautical marine bands and so on. And the frequencies that they have listed in there are indeed outside the bands. However, they bump up to the bands. Their spectrum mask is calling for the signal to be down 50 decibels at 250% of bandwidth. 50% of bandwidth, you could be a fair distance into the amateur band. So again, I think that I think use of HF is great. I'd like to see that happen. HF has really been decreasing in use over the years. I have no problem with commercial use of HF, but we do need the amateur spectrum protected either through a tighter spectrum mask or guard bands such that the interference within the amateur bands is below the noise from these signals. And of course, these stations also need to ID so that interference can be reported. Back to you, W6IWI.
And 7 VD.
Thank you, Harold, for that. And N7 VDR, you have a comment? Come now.
Hey, good evening, Kat, and to the net, and 7 VDR here. I checked in a little late, so this may have been covered, but this is more of a question. Being that the ARRL is our biggest mouthpiece, have they made a statement regarding this show?
They have not formally made a statement. They presented this on their website in the news section on July 11th. At first, I was mad, upset, or concerned that they had not responded since the petition was put forth on April 28th. But I did find a video out there of a gal, and I wish I had gotten her call sign, but she said from an ARL insider perspective, it's kind of like you don't show your hand too early because you give the other side too much time to counter your argument. So it is a tactic that is well used, and I think I totally agree. The ARRL is not exposing their hand at this time, but I guarantee you they are on this. They're on it, and they are our best method. Again, there is a method to do direct comment to the FCC and express your concerns, but, you know, we need to be totally professional and have legitimate concerns. So with that, Jimmy, that's all I've got on what the ARRL has done and what I suppose they are attempting to accomplish. Back to you if you have any other.
Okay, yeah, no, I think they're handling it. That's probably a good plan on their part, and they've got lawyers and yada, yada, yada. I wouldn't get too freaked out over some of the YouTube content makers. I know for a fact for one of them that it's all about clicks and revenue on their channel and doom, gloom, and I wouldn't be too overly concerned at this point. The other YouTube channel that I've seen, the guy with the 6 call sign, he's pretty credible, good information. But at any rate, no, that's all I got, Kat. Just wanted to throw that out there. Thanks for doing the net, and I'll be listening. N7 VDR. Question?
Referring to W6LG, and any of you that would like can research that on YouTube. That is Jim Heath, and I think he also goes as your ham radio Elmer. And again, if you visit his videos, his second and third video are extremely helpful in how to and who to submit your comments to. And he even has a PDF of what he has submitted. It's very well thought out and presented. So if you all get a chance, that's W6LG. You can for him, and you can do that shortwave, Shortwave Modernization Coalition search, and you can find a whole lot of information and videos from some well-spoken hams out there representing ham radio, I do believe. This W0KPH. Any other comments?
I still have a question. This is KAT W0KPH.
Can leave the net. I didn't hear anything earlier, and I don't think my radio is reaching the repeater. KW0P, I'll be clear, and QRT.
W6IWI, Harold, I believe you were in there also.
No, we've kind of pulled out of audio drop out here, but I agree with the thing with the ARRL. We'll probably file the comments on the last day. These guys are not reviewing their hand. That also gets them to review everyone else's comments on the way so that they're sure that they have covered all the bases. And then normally there's also a reply comment period after these comments, so people can review them and then reply. Thank you, W6IWI.
Thank you with that, Harold. And I understand that the reply comments after the deadline will be submitted and presented no later than August 15th. So we have until the July 31st to submit our comments and concerns pertaining to the FCC. And then there's a period that the petitioning parties and the FCC, I guess, have a chance to respond back to us. All right. Any other check-ins at this time? Taking check-ins at this time. And if you have comments or questions, please come now.
Question and comment, K0YK.
We had a comment question from K0YK and KW0P. W0SUN in the net locker room.
All righty. Thank you, Bucky. James, KU0YK, stand by just a moment. KW0P, Kurt, KW0P, your question? KW0P, KW0P, the mic is yours. Right, I must have missed him before he checked out. KE0YAK, James, come on.
W0KPH, KE0YK. My real question is, what will be the impact on us in digital radio? Radio has been changing for the last 50 years from pure analog to half analog to now we have digital radio. What really is the impact of this meeting of the FCC? I really have not heard that answered. So I'm not sure if it's going to really impact amateur communication. So I would like someone to explain that to me before I take a side. K0YK, back to the net.
KW6IWI.
Thank you for that question, James. A W6IWI, go ahead.
Okay. Hope I'm not taking too much of the net time here. First off, on reply comments, everyone can file reply comments. If you see a comment that you think is off base, you file a reply comment explaining why it's off base. The question regarding digital radio, again, this is HF. There is some digital HF, for example, RTTY and SD8 and digital voice on HF. What this would do is, if there is not adequate protection of the amateur bands being adjacent to these frequencies, it will increase the noise level. So no matter whether you're running sideband, CW, or whatever, the noise level would go up if there is not adequate attenuation of the sidebands or guard bands. So it would affect, it possibly affect all nodes on HF, especially at the band boundaries. But ideally, ARRL will say, sure, you can do this. You need a tighter mask and you need guard bands. Back to that, W6IWI.
This is W0KPH. One of my concerns, and I'm going to go back to it, is commercializing our bands, our radio, and it's going to encroach, how it won't encroach on the edges of our spectrum, our allocated spectrum. What I think will happen is going to get an advantage over other groups, and that'll bring more people commercially wanting to do their trading on the radio, over the radio, and it's opening the door. It's a precedent-setting change to the rules that will open up the door, make it a pay-to-play system, for lack of a better choice of words, and eventually it's going to get crowded where they're allowed to play, and they're going to want where we're allowed to play. They're going to want pieces and parts of our playground. That's one of my concerns. The other concern is these people are dealing in millions and millions of dollars. They have coffers that they can afford to fight, and they can afford to make legislation. And now this is just me. This is just my KAT side of me coming through. The other problem is what's going to happen. We know we have hams that get irritated when we're transmitting, and they try to interfere with our signal. What's going to happen if we have hams that do that to their signal, and it costs them thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in a transaction? Are they going to be able to come after us and sue us? Just something to think about. Again, tin hat, conspiracy, whatever you want to call it. I just think that if we give an inch, we're going to give a mile. W0KPH, back to you, James.
Well, my question would be, hasn't ham radio continuously changed since the 50s? We have gone a long ways in frequency, band use, and now we're in the digital world. So whatever they do on HF, well, I believe HF is our fallback always. But right now in the digital world, what effect does it have? I've met so many ham radio operators who have a technician license, they cannot do code, and they all own digital. They're the digital professionals. So are we just transitioning into another realm of amateur radio? Or are we going to how would I say it? Cut our nose off to spite our foot or something like that? Back to you, KAT. I'm listening.
From reading the petition, they are not interested in, they already have the Internet. Now, the Internet has some rules and regulations, especially in our country, that I believe they're trying to usurp with this using high frequency for carrying out their transactions. Their argument is that if we give them all the different band allocations they're asking for, they should be able to circumvent the propagation problems, and they have instant millisecond faster transition of data than they can get through the Internet. So they're not interested in the digital side of our ham radio. And it's faster than they can do with the uplink, downlink from satellites. We're talking people that move a lot of money here and do a lot of transactions. Back to that, any questions or comments?
And 7 VDR with a comment.
Jimmy, come down with your comment, N7 VDR.
Hey, thank you, KAT. And 7 VDR here again. Well, if in fact that this happens, they're going to be spending a lot of money on the spectrum that they're allocated. And if anything happens to their spectrum from disgruntled hams or whoever, it'll be an easy fix for the FCC. They'll just take it all away and sell it to the highest bidder. So that's how I see that playing out, especially with the money that's going to be involved back in that and 7 VDR.
HPS for the comment.
I didn't get the call sign, but comment, go ahead.
This is Kilo Charlie 8, Hotel Papa Sierra. My concern is about gray line stability. Radio is so up and down in its so this being a viable option for them. You know, dark at sundown, their propagation changes. Do they all of a allocation to up their power? There's numerous things here that I see a problem with. 68 HPS, back to that.
W6IWI.
W6IWI, go ahead, and then afterwards I have a comment too.
Okay, very good. So they recognize propagation. There are, looks like about 30 bands that are currently allocated to Part 90 that they want to use in the spectrum to 25 megahertz. So they're going to find the frequency that works. And if there's also a listen before talk thing, so if a signal pops up on a frequency they're using, they'll move to another one. So it's a little bit like what's it called? There's a link establishment protocol, automatic link establishment, where each band is tested to see which one's going to give the best path. And then they use that. And then if they find another end provides the best path, they move to that. So it's a way of providing reliable communications over an unreliable circuit of HF. We just move to where it works. Back to you, Kat. Thank you. It's W6IWI.
Thank you, Harold. And that did cover part of my comment. The other part is they have been playing with this with an experimental license since maybe as far back as 2017, from what I've been able to ascertain. But again, that's why they're asking for so many different frequencies and bands, because if you pull up the petition, which again I posted at the very top in the AIM window, but the petition itself, and if you delve down into it, it has page after page after page of addendum tests and all of the propagation issues. They're using VOACAP for a lot of their tests, and it shows everything that they've been doing. Now, they've been doing it on the international market, and then, again, Chicago and New York, they've been testing it here in our country. Our country appears to have the rules and regulations that are blocking them or hindering them at this. So they're basically petitioning to change the rules to achieve their goals. Again, I think it's dangerous. I think their coffers will far surpass anything that the ARRL and all of the ham clubs and groups can put forward, and not to suggest that any of are for purchase, but there you go. That's kind of what I'm suggesting. W0KPH. Back to anyone with comment or question.
quiet, please.
Okay, hearing nothing. Harold, do you have any more to add or to recap at this point? W6IWI, this W0KPH. And by the way, thank you so much for joining into this discussion this evening.
And 7 VDR.
KPH, any other comments or questions?
W6IWI.
And 7 VDR for another one. Just a comment, my kind of thoughts of what could be potentially happening.
Without damaging amateur radio, there would have to be adequate protection to ensure that any radiation within our band is below the noise level, and I would be fine with it. I don't believe the number of dollars will matter at the FCC. I think that reasoned arguments will win the day. That's what I hope anyway. Thank you. It's W6IWI back to now.
I would like to hope and think that you're right, and I think that the ARRL is going to present a heck of a good argument. Jimmy, did I hear you have a comment in 7 VDR?
Yeah, thanks again, Kat. This is more of kind of writing on the wall for me, but this is the stock market that's wanting to use this for trading, if I'm understanding this right, and if in fact that's the case. They've already seen the writing on the wall like we've known all along. What we're doing right here with digital over UHF and VHF, when the internet goes away, then where's the first place we're going? We're going to go to HF and communicate. And I think that there might be, it's just, to me, I don't want to be conspiracy theorist, but they may be preparing for something that could get quite ugly, to be honest with you. Anyway, that's all I got. N7V.
Whiskey Foxtrot, 1 Tango Zulu, comment.
Conspiracy theorist, but it's not the stock market per se. It is a group of holding companies that deal in the financial market, and I think they're wanting an edge that is slightly faster, again, milliseconds faster than digital trading or stock market trading, and that's what they have found when the propagation is right and when everything lines up, it is much quicker. And that little split second, that millisecond, is the difference between making thousands and thousands of dollars. But it's a group of holding companies and financial companies that deal in basically hedge funds, if you ask me. But I agree. They may be in the know of something coming that we're not quite in the know yet. That's all. That's all I've got there. W0KPH. Anyone with comment?
K0YK. Comment.
Okay, KG AAQ, stand by. We have KE0YAK. James, go ahead.
All radio frequencies travel at the same speed. How they decode to digital is almost the same in every platform. So as we're talking, it's the same. So there's no hedge fund that has anything better than what we're doing right now in digital. So trading, where they used to use trading and physical after they received digital communication, how the people interact on the stock market is going to be different. If you had an AI that translated the analog to digital, digital to trade automatically by some program, well, that's a whole different realm of thinking. If they're thinking that, yes, it's going to transform everything. But it does not, I don't think it really affects ham radio, amateur radio communication as we're talking. It may infringe on some of the bandwidth, but as we're talking right now, digitally, I cannot see, and I've not been demonstrated, any methodology that will affect us at this point. K0YK, back to the net.
WF1TZ comment.
Since this is all above my pay grade, James, you need to, if you could pull up that petition and read it, and all of their reasoning for why they want to be able to use the HF bands. It gets into that. It gets into the latency of other methods, and a lot of the addendums explain that. And again, a millisecond difference is the difference between them making a trade and not making a trade. So I do encourage you to pull up that petition and peruse it. It's a lot of pages, but it's in it's double-spaced. It's written the way they have to do with a lot of footnotes, so it isn't as long as it looks. But please, please check that. I have two people with comments, KG6AAQ. Tony from Port Hueneme. I know how to say that one now. And then Tony, KJ6 or KG6 Alpha Quebec. Tony, come on in with your comment.
Yes, I was just sitting here. I'm not going to say that I have trading experience, but I have done a lot of looking into trading in currencies. It's been a number of years. Unless it's NASDAQ or the major exchange or stock exchange that see this as a viable method, I don't see how they're going to make money. In fact, I think they could possibly lose money because of problems with propagation. Now, they say that they have tested, but I'd like to see them produce some results where their trades actually go through, and their trades are faster than either over fiber optics or the internet. I would like to say I would like to see some results because I think they will probably lose money doing this. Now they're saying that they tested this, but I just don't know. I think it's a lot of uncertainties with moving money that way. You're talking about possibly losing money if the connection doesn't go through. Back to you.
Yeah, well, I agree, but if you pull up the petition and read all of the appendixes, they've been doing this internationally. They've been doing this internationally under an experimental license with great success, which is why they're petitioning the FCC to get within and out of our borders. So internationally, they've been doing this. And you say, they know it works. They're trying to circumvent the regulations. They're potentially or possibly trying to circumvent the regulations tied with our internet usage. Just my opinion again, but I do know that they've been doing this experimentally internationally. It's the U.S. and our nation that they're trying to get the rules changed so that they can do this globally. With that, let's go to Sean, WF1TZ, for a comment.
This is WF1TZ, Sean. Good net tonight, interesting topic. Kind of jumped in on the middle of it a little bit. I think it's more than just stock trading. It's more than e-trade. Well, it's more than that type of fast trading. I think it's Bitcoin. I think it's money trading, international, like that. The money trading essentially, where it's similar to the network like Bitcoin, where you have acknowledgement of that trade in different locations all over the world. So I don't know. Maybe that's something that was already mentioned, but I don't know if they're just saying stock, or within the net you're just saying stocks, but it seems to me like it's money trading. And therefore it seems like it's that, and that leads me to believe that the bands are for sale, and that essentially, and if when you're talking that kind of power, that kind of money, and then encroachment onto our bands. So I'm leaning the opposite direction, than the previous guy that was on there. With all due respect. But that's my comment. Whiskey Foxtrot 1 Tango Zulu, back to net control.
Thank you, Sean. I'm leaning with you. And please understand, folks, these opinions that I'm voicing are mine, and not necessarily those of SkyHubLink. Let me refer you back to that W6LG on his third video where he presents his PDF that he has submitted to the FCC. He lines out bullet by bullet some very important aspects that research has come up with. It's very thought out and well presented. And again, his videos are well worth the time. And also the video by Matt, K0LWC. Again, those links are up top. I'll put them in the lower portion here of the AIM window. By the way, this is W0KPH with the of link. Net. It's a little past the top of the hour. So any more comments or questions, or anyone that would like to check in, please come now with your call sign twice and let me know if you have a comment or question.
Kilo Echo 8 Tango Lima Golf. That's Kilo Echo 8 Tango Lima Golf. Good evening. Whiskey 6 India, Whiskey India. Comment.
All right, Kilo Echo 8 Tango Lima Golf. We've got you logged in. Whiskey 6, IWI. Harold, go ahead.
And I hope you did hear there was another station in there in front of me. As far as what these companies do, they're called market makers, and from the petition it says, among other activities, service market makers and liquidity providers for exchange-traded financial instruments, And then they say, if adopted, the proposed amendments would enhance market makers' ability to quickly access real-time financial data and to continue to act in a manner that provides liquidity and helps to improve asset prices to the benefit of centralized markets and market participants. And as I mentioned earlier, if you can get a chance, have a look at the movie called The Bumblebee Effect, which goes into the importance of latency in these financial markets. Thank you, KAT W0KPH.
Thank you, Harold, for that. The other thing is, you know, our ham radio is public service, not for the financial gain and profitability of a few that are part of these liquidity and asset management companies. Just a thought. I do think it's just a matter of time that it's going to move in on our space. Again, my opinion. W0KPH, any comments or questions?
Echo 5, Romeo Juliet Mike, V5RJM. Randy?
Hey, Randy, go ahead. VE5RJM.
Yeah, good evening to everyone on that. Seems like the system is all working A-OK, 100%, so kudos there. I think, I don't know, just my opinion, I guess, let's put it that way, but I think we may be all missing the big picture, and doesn't look like we got anything that we're gaining. So why would we even attempt to second guess ourselves and go ahead and agree with any type of petition, no matter who the user is or that sort of thing. So I guess hopefully they can put a stop to this and maybe get them to look elsewhere. But if it's going to have a possibility of interfering, I'd say my comment is go look someplace else. Anyways, just my words of wisdom there. Everyone's doing a great job. Back to net control there, V5RJM.
Thank you, Randy, and thank you for checking in tonight. Again, one of those videos up top by K0LWC, Matt, he gives it's kind of like it's not a biggie now, but it might be a biggie in the future scenario, depending on how this one goes. This could be a precedent-setting decision in the future, not necessarily our near future, but it may change the landscape of our ham radio usage and our spectrums that we're allowed to play in right now. All right, any other comments or questions? Please come now.
WD0CIV, WD0CIV, Charles and Denver. I got in late and I've been listening to everything. I actually got a copy of the proposal. Haven't got a chance to read it yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards KAT's idea. I think they're going to take over a lot of stuff. After all, if they don't have the money to buy it outright, which they probably will have. But anyway, this is WD0CIV. Hi, KAT. Hi, Bill. And we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Charles, and thank you for your comment and checking into the net. Also, for any of you that have come late to the net, somewhere up here, I believe I posted the link to Jack's video stream. YouTube, www.youtube.com/watch ? No, that's Jim's video. I'm sorry. Somewhere up there I posted Jack's video stream. There it is. YouTube.com watch. Wow. That anyway, check the link out. I'm not about to try to call out all those letters and symbols. The link for Jack's YouTube stream tonight, and you can find that on the AIM instant messaging window at 0056 time at UTC time. So with that, any other comments or questions? This W0KPH.
Victor Echo 5, Romeo Hotel, VE5RH.
All right, that last one coming out of the 449450 couldn't pull you out. Come again with your call sign.
Kilo Delta 0, Tango X-ray, X-ray. I just moved to the window. Now, apologies.
Was that Kilo Delta 0 Tango X-ray, X-ray?
Delta 0, Tango X-ray, X-ray.
W0SUN, were you able to get that, the suffix to his call sign Kilo Delta 0?
Roger, KAT. This is W0SUN, doing the logging a little bit, and that was Nathan, Kilo Delta 0, Tango X-ray, X-ray in Aurora. That's what I heard, Kilo Delta 0, Tango X-ray, X-ray.
Thank you. You have younger ears than I. And folks, W0SUN, Bucky has been logging for me tonight, and a big thank you for that. Multitasking, not my strong suit. Any other check-ins? Please come now.
November 2, Alpha Papa Echo. November 2, Alpha Papa Echo.
November 2, Alpha Papa Echo. Thank you. We've got you added in. Do you have any comment or just check in? Okay, folks, that's about a wrap. Again, this is about a petition that has been presented to the FCC by a group calling them short will modify their Part 90 rules to allow some commercial use for financial dealing in the data realm of our radio, and allow them to be near some of our spectrum allocations, some of our bands, and allow it for commercial trading, hedge fund, market capital, type stuff. The ARRL is all over this. They're somewhat quiet at the moment, but I think they're playing a good game of poker and not exposing their hand too early to let the other side know. So with that, the timeline for our comments is no later than July 31st, and response to our comments via the FCC, the timeline back for response is August 15th. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. We know the ARRL has our best interests at stake. I just hope that the FCC will listen to some well-reasoned arguments and concerns. So with that, if there's any other last-minute check-ins, we'll pause for that. And if you have a comment, now is the time to come. KPH.
Whiskey 8, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. Whiskey 8, Mike, Juliet, Charlie.
Let's talk about what's going on. I'm a new ham operator, so I'm just sitting back listening. Just checking in.
I think double.
Mike, Juliet, Charlie.
Michael, we got you. There was one other one that came in just after you. The ham using the Detroit 88 DP. Come back with your call sign, please.
Whiskey 8, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. Whiskey 8, Mike, Juliet, Charlie.
8, Mike, Juliet, Charlie. Thank you, Michael. We have you checked in. Do you have a comment?
Yes, I do. I'm an attorney, and I have dealt and fought with Wall Street in the past, and it's been my experience whatever Wall Street wants, Wall Street will get it. And that is because their funds are unlimited, and ours are finite. So be prepared. It's going to happen. I guarantee it. That's my comment. W8MJC.
Thank you, Mike. Michael, I'm sorry. I agree. I believe that these holding companies and these LLCs that are forming this and they're trading will have coffers that will far surpass that of us and our representing the ARRL and all those representing our best interests. So, again, this, I think, is going to turn to something very big if this passes. W0KPH.
KPH 0 Tango X-ray X-ray.
Tango X-ray X-ray, come back.
I inform you guys that perhaps there's miscommunication about when I present other hobbies. I do not need any monetary note from when I do. I work for free. And I see this in the disabled area on given just in any so just do something in their life as a hobby of any extra other hobbies. That's all I'm going to make the comment. I'm sorry.
I could not understand any of it. Is that something you can respond to?
Victor Echo 5, Romeo Hotel. Victor Echo 5, Romeo Hotel. Are you copying me, Kat, at all, please?
Richard, I do have copy on you now.
Okay, thanks. I've been trying to check in, Kat, and I'm only hearing very few words of yours. I don't know what's going on tonight. Anyway, check me in, please, Kat. No further traffic. No further traffic. Thank you, Kat.
Okay, Richard, we have you checked in. Thank you. And I don't know what's going on with the audio either. So, all right. With that, folks, any other comments? And if not, we'll be winding this down. So this W0KPH, standing by for your comments.
Echo 3 Whiskey Victor Juliet. Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Victor Juliet. Just for a quick check-in.
Victor Echo 3 Whiskey Victor Juliet. Thank you for checking in.
SAV comment. Thank you very much for having me. Hope everyone has a great evening. And 73 Wall, V3 WPJ, Bill from Sudbury, Ontario.
Thank you, Bill. That K3 station with the comments, I think it was SAP, K3, come back.
K3 SAV. Just thinking about the concerns about the powers that be not being able to use it as well as the internet. It's probably going to augment as much as anything. So it's a genuine concern. The main thing I want to get over to you, Kat, was your audio broke out. You saved the first deadline a couple times yesterday.
Right, George. The deadline for our comments is July 31st. So our comments have to be submitted to the FCC by July 31st. Then the deadline for the response to comments submitted, so the response from the petitioners or from the FCC to our comments, is August 15th. Okay, folks, that's a wrap for this evening. I want to thank Buck for logging for me. Again, Google it, or I like to call it DuckDuckGo. Google this, get the petition, read it, see some of how they're presenting it. There are some very good videos that are not one-sided one way or the other out there. Again, use your discernment on the videos. I recommend that you listen to a video by Matt, K0LWC, and 3 videos by Jim Heath, W6LG. It won't take up too much of your time, and it may be well worth it. It'll give you some instant knowledge and some opinion and some help on how to submit your comments, and if you so desire. The ARRL is on our side, I hope, I trust, and that they are going to be all over this, like stink on doo-doo, and hopefully we'll start to see their response here shortly, just before the end of the month. So with that, I'm going to call this a wrap and reset, and then we'll be closing the net. If you need to check in, come now for one last round, and then I'll be right back.
Alpha Echo 0 Lima Echo.
Delta, Jane in Post Falls.
Victor Yankee 1, Mike Golf Sierra, Mike 1 MGS, green zone.
James, could you come back one more time with your call sign?
Alpha Echo 0 Lima Echo. Alpha Echo 0 Lima Echo.
Alpha Echo 0 Lima Echo. We've got you. And Jane, thank you for checking in. W2IKD. Okay, folks, with that, this has been the SkyHubLink Monday night system-wide net. Our thanks to Skylar, W0SKY Chief Engineer, and Jeremy, W0JRL System Engineer on the SkyHubLink main hub system. And to Bill Bucky Buckwalter. Oh, lots of B's there, Bill. W0SUN, our Wires X engineers. Thanks to the Rocky Mountain Radio League, the Denver Water Amateur Radio Club, and to the Denver Radio League. The N2K and K Westco repeater system to Mark, N0XRX, Randall, AE7RJ, Richard, VE5RH, and to all other systems and operators on the SkyHubLink. Thanks to Bill, W0SU, for spotting and logging for me tonight and sorting through who has comments. If you would like to be on our email list, be sure to go to skyhublink.com and then click on the Join Connect tab for instructions. Go to Jack's webpage at www.KE0VH, that's Kilo Echo 0, VictorHotel.com. Click down the page for information on the net, the SkyHubLink, and Jack's newsletter, the KE0VH Ham Shack. So with that, we'll be wrapping up tonight's net and returning all systems to normal amateur use. I can say that. This is W0KPH. My name is Kathleen. I am in Pueblo West, Colorado. 73 to all, and have a great night. Thank you so much for checking in. Thank you for your comments, and thank you for whatever you need to do to help present this to the DC. We look forward to hearing from you next week. Thank you, folks. W0KPH. Good night.